Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's DAF. Bava Metzia Nun Aleph. We are 5 lines off the top of the Amid. Ushbezich ne de Rami Bar Chama. This episode occurred with Rami Bar Chama's host. What happened was, he sold chamra, zavan chamra. Some say it means a donkey. Some say chamra means wine. In any case, he undercharged. Okay, so he got less than he was supposed to, and it was actually a significant gap. It was a sixth, which is considered oina'ah. He was cheated. The seller was cheated. Zavan chamra v'ta. He made a mistake on the price. Ashkechei. So Rami Bar Chama meets this fellow, and he notices Dava Otzev, he's sad looking. Amalei Amaya Tzivas. He says, what's wrong? What's the issue? Amalei, he says, Zavini Chamra v'toi. Look, I sold this thing and I undercharged substantially. Amalei, he says, Sil Hadabach. Just cancel the deal. Amalei, he says, well, too late. It's past the grace period. Hashahai li, I waited too long. Yoiser mikidei she'er el tagar oilikrovi. Right? If you go past that time frame, past the amount of time that it takes to show it to an expert or a relative, it's over. I can no longer go back on the deal. And this was a seller who was cheated. Shadri l'kamei de Rav Nachman. So Rami Bar Chama sends him to Rav Nachman to ask the question. What can he do? Amar lei, he says, Lo yishonu el lekeach. You should know this time frame, this deadline, only pertains to the buyer. So if the buyer gets cheated, he only has so much time to come back and complain. But if the seller was shortchanged, lo ilam chayzer. You can just come back whenever. Don't worry. It's not too late for you. My timer. What's the difference between the seller being cheated or the buyer being cheated? Very simple. The buyer has the item in his hands. So he can just go anywhere and show people. And people will tell him the honest truth. Value or no value. Ita or loita. Did you make a mistake or not? Right, they'll tell him. Did he underpay? Did he not? Did he overpay or not? So, since it's relatively easy for him to verify, to confirm the actual value of his item by taking the item that he has in his possession and bringing it to an expert, so we just give him, a set amount of time past which, you can no longer present your claim. But a moicher, the seller who sold his item, the loinokat mikhe, who no longer has the item in his possession, how is he going to confirm value? He has to go make some research. He needs to, locate an item which is similar to the item that he sold, and then make comparative evaluation. He'll know, he'll see how much that sells for, and then he can figure himself out. So there, we don't limit his abilities, and we just leave it open-ended. Therefore, this fellow as well, no reason to be disappointed. You could just go back and cancel a deal. How Gavra? There was a story of another fellow, Davanokat Varashchi. He was holding these bundles of silk, Lizvune, and it was for sale. Kari Shita, he was calling out, well, it's $6 per 6 zuz per package. That was his asking price, but really Beshavia Chamisha was only worth 5. So he was asking way more than he should be. Viyavu Yavile Chamsha Upalga. The truth is, as soon as somebody would offer him 5.5, have a shekel, he would accept the offer. Asking price was 6, but really he would accept 5.5. Asa Gavra comes along this customer. Va'amar, he says like this: I want to be smart the way I do this deal. Although I know that he's willing to accept 5.5, but if I offer him 5.5 and that's what I give him, so in a way I didn't really get cheated substantially, because I only paid a half more than its actual value. It was worth 5 and I'm paying 5.5. Havi mechila, in which case it would be forgiven and forgotten, because less than a sixth of overpayment is absorbed into the deal. as we learned yesterday. Rather than offering him 5.5, I'll give him full asking price. Etinli shita. I'll give him the full 6. And guess what? Ve'et beiladina. I'll then call him to the bezdin to get back the full 6 that he overpaid. So by paying more, I'll be eligible for the Aina'ah claim and get back everything. Also, look at the Rabbah. So he comes to Rabbah, Amalei, and he says, no, you're making a mistake. Lo yishonu elo b'kech min ha'tagar. Right? So he came to Rabbah to claim his, no, you're wrong. When do we allow a fellow an Aina'ah claim? When he purchased from a merchant. Right? So you walk into a store, you overpay, okay, you have Aina'ah. But if you buy from a private person, there's no Aina'ah there. Why? It says Rashi. 5 lines from the top. In Balabai, it says Rashi Tachshitin. If you buy personal effects, a person's personal belongings, they have personal value, sentimental value. We fully understand that he's going to sell it, for more than its value, because it's meaningful to him, has value to him. And therefore, says Rashi, the halachas of Aina'ah do not take effect. It's as though the seller would stipulate, I'm fully aware of the fact that I'm overcharging, but I'm doing it anyway. And if you're willing to buy, but you can't come back and complain. As we're going to see later in the Gemara, if you were informed, you can't come back and complain. So Rashi found this pshat in Shiltais the Rav Achai. How Gavra says the Gemara, there was a story of another fellow that had a nukit kipil zvuni. He was in possession of these nose rings or whatever, this jewelry, offering for sale. Same story. Kari shitin v'shavi chamshin. He was calling out 60, he was asking for 60, when in reality it was only worth 50. In case before it was 5 and previously it was 5 to 6. Here it's jewelry, so it's 50 to 60. But the truth is, he would have taken an offer of 55. If he had been offered 55, he would have readily accepted. Comes along this fellow, and he says, look, I'm not going to give him 55 because if I do so, I'll only be overpaying by 5, which falls into the category of mechila. It's less than a 6, right? Havi mechila. I don't want to do that. Let me give him full asking price, full 60. At Biladina, I'll bring him to the Rav and demand that full overpayment as refund. Also, came to Rav Chisda. So he came to Rav Chisda to make his claim, and he says nothing doing. The halachas of Aina'ah only apply when you buy from a professional, from a merchant, from a dealer. But buying a person's private, personal objects, there's no claim of Aina'ah, as we explained before. Rav Dimi said to him, yeah, actually, I confirm, I second this opinion. It's like Yeshar Koyach, right? I also agree with this distinction. Asks the Gemara, what do you mean? How can you make this differentiation between a private person and a merchant? Coming up very soon in the Mishnah, we learn just as an ordinary person, private person has a dini Aina'ah, same thing with a merchant. Man hedyot la balabais. Who's a hedyot? A private person. Aina'ah applies to him too. Amar Chizda, no, b'tzad raisa. It all depends what he's selling. It's not about who is selling, it's about what. The Mishnah, which indicates that Aina'ah laws apply even to a private seller, is speaking about tzadraisa, big day kanbos, Rashi says, some sort of garments. So he's selling commercially, even though he's a private person, but it's a commercial deal. He's not selling his private effects. So we treat it like any commercial deal, and there's Aina'ah. But his own personal belongings, the akiri alei, which are precious to him, which carry special meaning and sentimental value, he wouldn't sell it unless he makes a lot of money. So then we can readily understand that his mindset is, look, I know I'm overpricing. I know I'm over asking, but these are my personal possessions. And if you want it for this price, but there's no claim to follow. Okay, now we proceed to the Mishnah. We're meant to know that just as if a buyer gets cheated, he has claims, likewise a seller. If he's underpaid, he has like we said before, right? Applies to a private person just as to a merchant. No, a tagar does not have no. The Gemara will explain exactly how and why. What happens when there is no? When you get cheated, what happens? The fellow who got cheated, he has the upper hand. He has a choice of proceeding using one of two options. So here's the buyer speaking. He can say, look, I want my money back, cancel the whole deal, or refund me that difference, the amount that you overcharged. But no, how do we know this is true? That no applies both ways, to the seller and to the buyer. Right? When you sell an item, make sure not to cheat. So perhaps this only applies to a buyer who was shortchanged. What if the seller was shortchanged because the buyer underpaid? How do we know that is also included in the Aina'ah system? When you purchase, be careful not to cheat. There's a need for the Torah to stipulate that both seller and buyer are equally bound to the halachos of Aina'ah. Had the Torah only mentioned the seller, because the seller understands the value of the item that he's selling. So he's obligated to sell it for a fair price. But perhaps a buyer who's not necessarily proficient in true market value of the items that he's purchasing, perhaps the Torah does not include him and does not obligate him to verify, to confirm exact prices and values. On the other hand, if the Torah only speaks about a buyer needing to be careful to treat the seller honestly, with integrity, because after all, he's gaining, he's buying a nice item. The Amr Inchi, as people say, it's a common phrase. Zavnas, you purchased the car, kanis, you got something. So since he's benefiting, it's all gain. Look, he spent some money, but look what he has now. So perhaps he's meant to be careful, to do it honestly. But a seller, poor fellow, he's losing his item. Very often a person doesn't want to be in that position of having to sell. The Amrin, as people say, Zavin, you sold, you lost it. What'd you get? Some money, what you're going to spend, and right? So perhaps since in some cases it's to the seller's disadvantage to have to sell. Perhaps the Torah doesn't really bind. Will not really bind sellers. With the halacha is of let him earn whatever he can get. Torah says on both sides of the equation, you have to be careful. The seller and the buyer should proceed with integrity. Mishnah says if he's a dealer, the halachos of do not apply to him. Asks the Gemara, Mishum shehu tagar, ein lo Ainah, just because he's a salesman. That eliminates the whole Ainah situation. Why don't the laws of Ainah apply to him? Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav, no, we're speaking betagar safsor shanu. We're discussing an agent. He buys and sells within a very short time. So basically, he knows exactly how much his merchandise is worth. He just bought it yesterday. Right? So this distributor has no din Ainah. What does that mean? That even if he's underpaid, he has to live with it. My Tami, you know why? Meida Yoda Zvinte Kamashavya, he fully knows the value of the merchandise that he's selling. He just bought it yesterday or today. And the fact that he accepted, payment less than then justified is just a plain mechila. He's forgiving. He's the reason why he did it was because he's trying to raise money quickly for the next deal. The reason why he sold it for lesser than value, perhaps suddenly another lucrative business opportunity cropped up and he needs the money. So he was willing to sell it for less to generate more profit on the next deal, and that's what he was thinking then. But today he has extra time, so he's willing to pursue the buyer and harass him. He's changing his mind. So according to Rav Nachman, a tagar is at a disadvantage. He can't just claim eina'ah because he was aware of the actual value. Rav Ashi Amar, the other way around. Ein la tagar eina'ah means einai b'tiras eina'ah. He doesn't follow the standard guidelines of eina'ah. Shafilu pachis mikdei eina'ah chayzer. Typically, if it's less than a sixth, you just consider it mechila. No. This merchant, this distributor, who's making has very small profit margin on the items that he distributes, even if it's a slight disparity between value and the sale price. He only lost a little bit. He's chayzer. He can cancel a deal. Why? Rashi explains because he's desperate for this profit. He's a very small profit margin. Rashi says the chayav teluyin b'kach. That's where he makes his living. So the Chachamim made a takana. They expanded. They allowed him to reclaim his losses, even if it's a minor loss. So going to this approach, actually a tagar has an advantage over an ordinary person. Tanak was said to Rav Nachman. We have a braysa in support of the first approach. Rabbi Yehuda tagar ein lo eina'ah. A tagar can never claim, I was underpaid because he's an expert and fully aware of the true value of his merchandise. The Mishnah says the fellow who was cheated has a choice on his hands. He can either cancel the entire deal or ask his extra money back. And we're speaking about the buyer, right? The lekeach who was cheated. Now we had a brayse yesterday presenting two shitas. Rabbi Nassan, who in fact gave Rabbi Nassan, who says no, that the fellow who was cheated can merely ask that extra money back. He can't cancel a deal. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, right, the Rebbe, the composer of the Mishnah, compiler of the Mishnayos, he gave the fellow two options: cancel the entire deal, or get the disparity, the extra back. Now our Mishnah, which says that both options are provided, plus it says that eina'ah works both ways, whether the buyer was cheated or the seller was cheated. So this Mishnah doesn't seem to be in line with anybody in that price. Mani Masnisin, who's speaking in our Mishnah? Lo Rabbi Nassan, lo Rabbi Danasi. It's not going like Rabbi Nassan or Rabbi Danasi. Why? If Rabbi Nassan, is it going like Rabbi Nassan? No. Masnisin katani ratza. The Mishnah provides two options. Mbu Brisa like tani ratza. Rabbi Nassan, when he speaks in the Brisa, he doesn't provide both options. So that can't work. If Rabbi Danasi, is our Mishnah Rabbi Danasi? Well, Masnisin tani lekeach. Our Mishnah says that even if the buyer was cheated, he has both options on hand. Brisa tani meicher, but the Brisa only relates that the meicher has these options, not the lekeach. So we're sort of stuck. Who's speaking in our Mishnah? Which says, first of all, you have both options. You can cancel or get refunded on that, disparity. Number two, that both the meicher and lekeach, the lekeach is also provided with this avenue. This Mishnah ours of I'm not sure who's the author of the Mishnah. It doesn't really jive with anybody that we know. Rabbi Amar no, Rabbi Nassan. Of course the Mishnah is Rabbi Nassan speaking. That both options are provided. Utani nami brisa ratza. Go back to that brisa and insert the word. Yeah, Rabbi Nassan also holds that both options are provided. You can either cancel or recall that extra money. And the machlokes between Rav Nassan and Rabbi Danasi is whether it applies also to the, lekeach or only to the meicher. Rav Amar Leila Rabbi Danasi. Actually, our Mishnah is Rabbi Danasi speaking. That in fact, both options are provided to the fellow who was cheated. So, although the Mishnah only speaks about the lekeach doing so, but the Brisa elaborates on that. Umay de shir b'mas nisin kamafarish v'braisa. The Braisa elaborates on the Mishnah. It applies to the lekeach and to the mecher as well. Take a close look at our Mishnah. Will indicates as such that in fact it applies to both parties, the seller and the buyer. Because the Mishnah begins, the opening statement of the Mishnah is buyer and seller are incorporated in the laws of Einoah. And then the Mishnah concludes by illustrating how the lekeach will demand justice. What happened to the meicher? So clearly, the Mishnah is just citing one of two examples. The Mishnah just left out the meicher, but of course, the same applies to him. Itmar. Here comes a new discussion. Reuben is selling an item to Shimon. He says, "Look, I'm selling this to you on condition. Don't come back and claim, that you were cheated. Done deal." What happens now? Rav Amar, doesn't matter. If he was cheated, he has a full claim against the seller. Conditions don't really change the equation. Ushmuel Amar, the fact is, they had an agreement. We're not going to claim against each other. So that's it. That puts it to rest. Says the Gemara, Leima Rav, shall we say that Rav who says you can condition to undo a halachic privilege, a halachic right, Damak Rav Meir is following Rav Meir's shita. We'll see in a minute. Shmuel, who says you could do so, he's going like who? Damak Rav Yehuda. The son, Isha. A person approaches an Isha. I'm engaging you on condition that I'm not committed to the marital commitments. You have no claim on me with respect to share, funding your meals, supporting you, clothing, being together as married, leaving that out of the marriage. So it's no bottle. Of course, the condition takes effect, and his condition flies out the window. That's Rav Meir's opinion. You can't condition against a din in the Torah. Marriage entails these commitments. You can't get out of that. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, it depends. The financial aspects that you can hang up. Two of the three aspects which are financial, you can make a condition on that, and basically, it's as though the other party forgave you on those obligations. So likewise, regarding a condition to circumvent Einoah claims, well, Rabbi says it doesn't work. That's like Rabbi Meir. You can't condition against the Torah, even though it's a financial issue. Whereas Shmuel says it works, like Rabbi Yehuda. Rav says no. My opinion that it doesn't work by Einoah can be in line with Rabbi Yehuda as well. You know why? Perhaps it's only there by Kedushin, where Rabbi Yehuda says it works. Elo, because the Yada become machla. She's fully aware of her rights and privileges in entering this marriage, and she's forgiving. She's forfeiting those rights. So of course it works. But when it comes to a sale, I'm selling you this car for X amount on condition. Since when? Who says the buyer understands how much it's really worth? And at the time, he's not really expecting to be cheated. He thinks he's paying fair value. It's only later on that he's shocked to find out that he overpaid. So here, the condition doesn't really take effect. It's not being done by consensus, really. Shmuel will go the other way. He'll say, my opinion that conditioning by Einoah works can work even according to Rav Meir. You know why? It's perhaps only there by Kedushin, where Rav Meir says it doesn't work because essentially marriage entails these aspects of commitment, and by conditioning to free yourself of those aspects, of those commitments, you're essentially tearing apart the institution of marriage. You're going against the essence of marriage. So that's going against the Torah. It doesn't work. But when it comes to commercial enterprise, not every sale entails Einoah, right? So when I approach the sale and I say, look, I don't want this sale to be subject to halachas of Einoah, I'm not essentially going against the Torah, because perhaps a sale by definition, does not entail Einoah, right? So the condition can now take effect. So although ultimately I did cheat you, but so what? The condition is already in effect, because the condition not to have the Einoah claim in a transaction isn't, by its very essence, going against a clearly stipulated halach in the Torah, because not every sale has Einoah. As opposed to marriage, every marriage entails these commitments. So to suspend these commitments, you are essentially opposing a din in the Torah. Amar Rav Anan, says Rav Anan, you should know. It depends how it's said. Shmuel explained to me that it all depends as follows. If he told his buyer, look, I'm selling this to you on condition that you will not come claim Eino against me, okay, he can't claim Eino because he's forfeiting that right. But let's say, he says, I'm selling this to you on condition that there is no Eino element within this purchase. But there is. Hareish ba'ina, if he cheated him, there is enough. So it's a contradiction in words. And therefore, there's no conditioning. That doesn't work. Meisvei, here we're going to have a kasha. A kasha is on who? On Rav. Rav told us that, I could be going even like Rabbi Yehuda, who says that you can condition by a marriage, because there, it's being done by consensus, they're fully aware of what's going on, as opposed to Eino, which entails the unknown. There's no consensus. Meisvei comes a kasha. That you can condition by Eino, even though there was no awareness. Rashi explains Amana entails a following arrangement. It's like what we call consignment. So Reuven offered Shimon an arrangement where Reuven delivered his merchandise to Shimon, who will now sell it retail, and there'll be some sort of arrangement between them. He'll give him some sort of salary, and he'll try to make the most out of this, sell it to the most he could. So whatever happens, whether he sells it for a lot, for a little, it's the owner's gain or loss. Okay, he took his chances. He left it up to Shimon, and he was selling it at his discretion. Next case, for Omer Chaveri, or our case, where Reuven told Shimon, look, I'm selling you an item, Almanas, you can't come back and complain to me about it, no. Right? That's it. He rests his claim. So now, Rav da Amar, Rav who told us a minute ago, I know the Amri Afilu Rabbi Yehuda. I who say that you can't make it tonight against Eino can be in line, even if it's Rabbi Yehuda, who allows conditioning by Kedushin, because there is a consensus, there's an awareness. Eino is totally in the dark. So you can never make a condition to suspend the Eino rules. So over here in the Brisa, Hamani, who's it going like? Here it says you could. Amar Abai Machmarta, so apparently the correct approach earlier was like this. That it's a Machlekes Tanaim. Rav who says you cannot make a Tanai by Eino, Amar Rav Meir. It's going like Rav Meir that even financial conditions don't work if it contradicts the Torah law. Shmuel says it does work. That's like Rabbi Yehuda who says you can make a Tanai if it involves financial claims, even though it's sort of negating a Torah halacha. Rav Amar Lo Kash. Rav says no. Rav who says you cannot make a Tanai by Eino because it's in the dark. It's an unknown situation. There's no consensus, no awareness. So, and that will work like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda, by Kedushin, who allows it, is only speaking because they understand that what's happening. We can stick with that system. And the reason why in this Brisa, the Tanai against Eino seems to work is because there was awareness. He informed him. Like Kasha, Kam Bistam. When it's an unknown, then of course it can't work. But Kam B'Mefarish. But our Brisa is speaking that he told him, look, I know I'm overcharging you for the car. They're both fully aware. Both parties are fully aware. It's by consensus. It's like the case of the Kiddushin. And therefore it works according to Rabbi Yehuda. The Sanya, as we find in a Brisa. But Medvam Amur, when do we say it doesn't work? Mastam. When it's unknown. Aval B'Mefarish. But let's say he stipulated to him. Like, the seller tells the buyer, look, listen closely. The item that I'm selling you for 200, really? I know it's not worth that. I know it's worth merely 100. I'm selling to you on one condition, don't come complaining. That's what happens. He can't complain. And likewise, a buyer approaches a seller. He says, I know you're desperate. I'm underpaying, but this is what it is. The item that I'm about to buy from you, b'mana for 100. I know full and well. Boy, it's worth double. I'm buying it on condition you don't come complaining. It sticks. Because they both know. And it's by consensus. So back to the consignment arrangement. Here we have ribis concerns. So Reuben has two barrels of wine. One is high quality wine, which he knows Shimon, as soon as he gets it, he'll sell it off right away. But he has also, another barrel, which is not so, it's more, inferior quality wine, which he's going to have to sell incrementally, take his time, and put an effort and advertise. So he shouldn't do the following arrangement. He shouldn't give him the bad stuff, ba'amana, and have him work and sell it and eventually give him the money, and give back, the Reuben the money, and the good quality wine according to its value. Basically, he'll charge him wholesale, price, $100, and have Shimon sell it off retail. And basically, he's going to sort of save on the salary, which is standard. You give your manager a salary, right? You give him some cut. Here he's going to sort of cut the salary. Why? Because he's charging Shimon for holding on to Reuben's money. Because the easy sale, the easy barrel, that money you should be giving me now. I'm going to let you hold on to that money. And because you're holding on to my money free of charge, that's like ribis. You're like sort of holding my money. So now, I'm not going to give you any salary, any commission for selling the other barrel, which takes time and effort. So that service you're going to be providing me because I'm letting you hold on to the first money. That's ribis. The bad stuff he can't give him ba'amana, that he sells, incrementally, and not pay him for his effort. And the other good barrel, he'll sell him wholesale, and he won't take the money back right away. He'll let him hold the money and charge him for holding the money by compelling him to sell the other stuff free of, without salary. You can't do that. Ella, rather be fair. Be consistent. Either both barrels through the amana arrangement. Here, take the barrels, sell it, and I'll give you some sort of standard salary for your efforts. Or he says, look, I have two barrels. Here, pay me wholesale, give me back the money, and then you sell it at leisure. And whenever we make this sort of consignment arrangement, you have to pay him for his expenses, right? The moving fees, the tray of schar gamel for the camel that he has to transport the stuff. Schar pundak, a hotel. Schar atzma in noitel. He doesn't have to give him his own personal salary for personal effort. Shekar nusnoi schar mishon, because he paid him for that in full. What do you mean? He just gave him the raw material. There's no money yet. What do you mean he paid him? Schar mishon mechel kayoy. Like, where do you give him that money from? What do you mean he gave him full salary? Papa bitzadruye. Oh, we had this before. These the god made of kambus. Some sort of material. Diavi Arbalame, it was a standard system that you give him 100 to sell, he takes 4 for himself. He makes 4%. So when he gave him the material, it was understood that the fellow will deduct, will keep 4 out of 100 as a managerial fee, and that's considered sufficient payment for his efforts. Otherwise, you run into ribis issues because he's working on account of holding your money. So as long as you give him a salary plus his expenses, you're good. But we started today's DAF with a story about a fellow who undersold his wine. And the Gemara says he doesn't have that 2-hour window of opportunity. He can just come back any time because by the moicher, it's open-ended. There's no time limitation. We had a chiddush that when a person sells his own personal sentimental stuff, it's understood that he might overcharge. Mishnah says the fellow who's cheated has 2 options on hand. And actually yesterday we said we don't pass like Rabbi Nassim, that all you could do is demand that disparity, that extra back, if it's just a sixth, right? Then we had a whole discussion regarding a Tanai, right? Does a Tanai work on Ino? Rab says no, Shmuel says yes. We went back and forth, Rabbi Yehuda Meir, compare condition, differentiate between condition and Ino, and we concluded regarding a halacha of avoiding ribis. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.